instead of some of the other games I've been playing, I'm going to show you a little bit of Godfall. It was a launch title, and let me get the negatives out of the way first. It was kind of buggy at launch. Sometimes you'd get kicked from a session, and you'd lose progress. When you pick up certain items, because there's no like vacuum feature, you have to walk over the items to pick them up. When you would do that, it would kind of be a hitch, and it would freeze just momentarily. Yeah, there were some problems. Those things have since been corrected. It's a lot smoother. A couple of patches, a couple of updates later. If you understand, let's get into why it's good. If you've seen or know anybody, or if you play Roblox, there's a side grade to that called Dungeon Quest, which is basically running these same missions over and over again at a very high level, and you're trying to get legendaries for your character, depending on what type of character you have. You'd have to have different accounts. You'd have a mage or a warrior, and each one gets different sets. Well, this is very similar to that. There's going to be an expansion coming, free expansion at the beginning of the year, and then shortly after that they'll have their first paid expansion. But you're basically trying to kit out you've got 12, these are called Valor plates. All right, so you're trying to get gear for each of them, because each of them does something different. This one is, let's see, yeah, so it deals air damage and shock damage. Shock and air go together. So you're trying to get different weapons. There's 5 types of weapons. There's long swords, there are dual swords, there are pole arms, there are great swords, and there are war hammers. Now, it might seem with just 5 different weapons that the combat would be limited, but it's very deep combat system if you go into it. I just happen to have 2 pole arms here because I was just sticking with the one. The pretty cool thing is that certain attributes that work with one, it works on one weapon, like this one, summon a Void Sentinel whenever you use a Northern technique. Your Northern technique is like your L2 and your your L1 and your R2 together. That brings up, let me see, wait. There's a lot to this. Where is it? Yeah, okay. So your Soul Shatter. What it does is your Northern technique applies Soul Shatter build up to the enemy's health bar, because some of these enemies are really, really tough. So heavy attacks and your Southern technique, which is the L2 and the R2, deal Soul Shatter damage. So you can blow your enemies up, essentially. So all of them have something. Okay, I got it. All right, yeah. So those seem to be kind of slow. Excuse me. When you go through your main story, this says level recommended 25, okay? And most of those are level locked. This is not. Once you get to level 50, you want to do things that give you level 50 gear. All right, so you've got, all right, on these open world things, you hit your left on the directional pad, and that gives you spirit vision, and that leads you to certain objectives. All right, these are just resources you should pick up at all times. What you should get in the habit of doing is breaking the vases and that's Electrum. See, it says 227 over on the right. That is the currency, and you need, let me switch over to this. You need that for everything, to rank everything up. But what also, if you see over at the bottom left, there's the shield gauge. You can block anything except red attacks. Red attacks are unblockables, and you've got certain invulnerability periods by dodging out of it. The shield, you can use at all times, but to throw it, it uses that whole shield gauge. And then there's like a slight cooldown before you can throw it again. Now I have it modded so that if I hit you with it, if I hit an enemy with the shield, it gives me health back. All right, and just underneath on the bottom left, that green health gauge, there's a little yellow bar that's slowly filling up. You can get, it's like Ethereum is the resource in the game. But when you fill that bar up, you can go into the Archon Fury. This, if you tried to attack, would block him. You see that bottom yellow bar continues filling up. Now what I didn't do, I didn't throw it, but there's a slight cooldown. As you can see, you get as much of that Electrum, which is the currency, as you can. You pick it up because you're going to need it to upgrade everything. I didn't like the great swords until I understood it's very slow, but you can dash out of it. And if you do, if you unlock the timing attacks, what winds up happening, you go, wait, they're too quick. And if they try to attack me while he's charging that up, it'll bounce off. It'll block that. It can't block unblockables, but these little things just get them out of the way. They're nothing. And as many of these chests as you can, you open them up. We'll go down there and fight those guys later. Now the Archon Fury, which is his ultimate, is ready. All of their Archon Furies are different. His happens to be, because I don't remember. Okay, yeah, so it's breach damage. And then it unleashes a breach shockwave when you do the Archon Fury, and it does breach damage to them, which, let's go back to this real quick before we get attacked, because you can get attacked here. Go into the specifics of breach. There's a lot of, the game is good at bringing you along to things slowly as you go. There's a tutorial, and then you get hints as you're beginning in the game. Alright, so as you damage an enemy, you also deal breach damage to the enemy. After dealing enough breach damage to fill the enemy's breach bar, they become stunned and vulnerable to a takedown. Takedowns do damage, do a lot of damage, and I have my takedowns kind of maxed out. So when you look in the skill section, you can fill out the skill sections as you choose, whatever's gonna work for you. My takedowns, yeah. So I can do a lot of damage with it. I probably should have maxed it out, but they won't let you be able to, at least not at this point, max everything out, which would I don't know if it would work that way. I think it's good in a way that everybody's build will be different. However you play, you're going to get points as you play. You'll get skill points, and then you can add it as you see fit. And you can always clear the skills in there all over again. You're not relegated to. Also, when you see like scratches, it looks like claw marks or something on there, that you can climb up, but there's no dedicated jump button. And because there's only 12 Valor plates at the moment, I anticipate them having more. You still want to pick up those Valor plate cores. Like right now I can't build any more, but alright, so that up there, that is Sunsteel. That's another resource. But what you can do, if you hit it, it won't, if you can hit it with your shield, it won't deplete the shield gauge. There we go. Alright, so let's attack him. Knock him down, and that's a takedown. Yeah, these guys can knock me down, but I've applied. Yeah, my weapons are pretty strong. He blows up. So you pick up that. Pick up as much of that little change, that currency as you can, because I'm telling you, I'll show you what I mean when I try to rank something up to legendary status. There's common, there's uncommon, there's rare. Obviously, legendary is what you're looking for, but you can rank them up. Take that. So you want those bright orange ones, not just the yellow ones. The yellow ones are resources and basic things, but you want to find those ones that are the deep orange. Yeah. Get out of electricity. Pick up as much as you can. What direction? Okay, it's right there. All right, so these, they'll be, see, so you can't open it, so you go into your spirit vision. You gotta do it too. Oh, you want to get off there. was odd. So you just pick up the change. Like I said, it will be, you will really, really need to. Alright, there's another chest over here. So sometimes there's just a puzzle to free it, and sometimes you have to fight your way to it. So let's see which one this is. Oh, this is one heavy attack. Crap. Let me do it. There we go. Let's look for a third one. Leading me that direction, so I think it's that way. I'm just gonna grab this extra chest here. It's just resources. Have to pick up. You have to pick that change up. You'll be using it so much. It's back the other way. So what I forget to do is there's, like, if you're turning the camera slow, it's hard to do, but if you tap down on the directional pad, it'll switch back around. I never do that, because that's just, doesn't really make sense. Oh, the treasure permits. Grab all of that. Now that fulfills all the requirements. Then it says explore the realm. And on these, essentially, you're just looking for resources. and it'll give you one of these for free. It'll direct you to one for free. The rest of them you have to find on your own. Now, potentially the epics, I haven't seen any uncommon or rare ones that I've wanted to waste resources on to rank up to legendary, but go that way. These are good guys to fight. And these expanses here usually have these resources there. I'll show you when I go back to the sanctum, which is basically your home base. I'll show you just how important these resources are. Oh, one over there, sun steel. Where is it? Nah, it was there. Okay. We'll kill something while I'm waiting for the bar to fill back up. Now those bolts that came out of it, when you hit a weak point, whenever you inflict bleed, there's different ailments you can proc. When you inflict bleed, those particles shoot out that do physical damage. Physical is bleed. Physical causes bleed. So when you saw that I hit that one, the other one, those projectiles shot out and killed it. Okay, so this is what I meant to do. I was on the wrong side of it. All right, you see that? You just line it up, hit your shield, and it gives you the resources, and you don't waste the shield charge. All right, it went that way already. Okay. Could go to, I think there should be a chest over to the right. Yeah. Again, it doesn't seem like much, but you got to pick those resources up. I can't impress upon you how important it is to pick the resources up. These guys are pain. Now those guys that latch onto you, you gotta kill them. Alright, northern technique. Southern. You don't try to get stuck there. You can tank through certain enemies. Like, these are only level 50. Alright, that's as high as you can go, is level 50. But, let's see. Right. Gotta kill these guys. See, because of corruption. Knock you out of it. Get that off. So the sword itself, when you do heavy attacks, this particular sword, let me get somewhere, make sure nobody's gonna spawn in on me. This particular sword, when you defeat an enemy with a charged heavy attack, unleash a shockwave that deals 2,607 fire damage to enemies in front of you, and also deals additional breach damage. It also has 24% extra crit hit damage, 24% weak point damage, which I have modded it to expose weak points, and you'll see like little red dots, and then soul shatter build up. So this is, and this isn't maxed out. This sword is not maxed out. This one here, it's a good long sword, and I want to find like a hammer for him instead, because I want him just to bully people. But this is, I mean, it's a good long sword. He doesn't have, and he has breach. He does breach damage. He's not tied to a particular element. Some of them are very like void energy. The Mobius, which is the one valor plate, does void damage, which can inflict curse. So I'll show you what the ones that are. Oh. That's unblockable. Done. That wasn't a heavy attack. That was just the timing attack of the. You've got R1s, which are your light attacks, and then your R2s are your heavies. And you can use them in combination. There should be somebody right over there. Nope. So now it's about just going and you're just gathering resources. There's a nice little group. You gotta kill your guys. they'll drop those electric pools that'll just do damage over time. If you're standing in it, you're just going to catch damage. Now these guys all that extra damage, all that noise you heard was just the bleed, the projectiles hitting them and then them just bleeding. All right, we'll find one more group of enemies. And normally, I think if we can get here, these always, there's a, right here, need those resources. Now we'll go kill these guys here, and then I'll show you why you need so many resources. I'm going to do his Archon Fury on this last group. There should be another group over here, just to show you what his ultimate's like, and you'll just, it's insane. It's difficult on the higher levels. Then yeah, you know, when you get to the level 60 and above enemies, they don't die as quickly, but they die. So after you get to that explore the realm, you can do abandoned mission and still keep everything. So let me show you why you need those resources. All right, we'll go here. Let me get rid of some of these. Go to the armory, and you can, what they just added is you can mark them for salvage and salvage as a group, which is great. So these common ones, nah, we're getting rid of those. Sometimes there might be an uncommon one that, okay, what's unusual, but this isn't one. Rares, nope. Uncommons, nope. So what you're looking for is possibly the legendaries or the epics, but all of those with the exclamation points are new. So this is an epic. There's some other epics here. I don't need that. There's some other epics. I'll show you what it costs to rank one up, because I want to do that one, the Rapture, I think. Okay, so rings. Common rings, nope. You just get rid of those. Common charms, get rid of those. It's worth it to look. I've got a couple multiple of the same legendaries. You can rank these up. Might deals with your strength and your weapon damage. Spirit deals with how fast your abilities charge back up, and your vitality is just vitality, and there's an ability that you can unlock when you go in that skill grid called Siphon, and the higher your vitality, the more damage you do. But Siphon for me wasn't something that I was going to use. that. Spirit, no. Banners, this is a common banner, that can go. So, let me show you. I'll save that one. That one I already have. Alright, so you can salvage all. Alright, so find one that look okay. Shield charge, that's chill for water. Air and shock. That's fire. That's water. That does a lot of poison damage. But that's already. Okay, so again, you go here, and let's say we're gonna do this one. So to enchant it, to move this up to legendary, look at that. It takes 30,000 of the electrum, and I have 239,000 only because just within the last maybe. Like when you go and just break stuff open, like in those different missions, it helps. Because I was down to, I didn't have enough to rank one of these up. So, let's see, so you enchant. It's gonna take 30,000 and then some of that sun steel and dragon steel. So we're gonna enchant it and rank it up. Okay, so you can't enchant it any further, but you can upgrade it. So if you upgrade, it's gonna upgrade the basic damage, as you can see. But when you get to that third one, it should increase those too. Let's see. When it adds an extra one. Okay, I do have an Orb of Oblivion. Okay, so rank that up. And then it'll give us a chance to add something. Whatever it already has here, you can add to it. It's going to add an upgrade to one of the traits. So chill is actually very good. It's like a frost, and it slows them. I don't even know if it does damage over time. I just know that it slows them. So I'm going to do that. Not going to take that up any further because there's another one that I wanted to actually rank up further. That's at newest. I want rarity. All right, what did I want to rank up? This one, I think, yeah. Void Sight. Wanted that to go up a little higher, so I got enough of the orbs. Let's add to that. The crit chance would be good. Crit damage would be good, but every time you use the northern technique with this, you set up this little void sentinel. It's like just a pole in the ground, a little tiny pole, but when enemies come by it, it'll just keep damaging. I don't even know what the length of time. As long as you have enemies, it'll stay up. When all the enemies disappear, you kill all the enemies, then it'll vanish. But you can keep putting them up. You can put 3, 4, 5 of them up, and as long as there's enemies. So I want that, the weapon technique charge speed. Okay, so that one we just ranked up. That one, that's the poster boy here. He's good all around. His weapon technique charge speed, if you look at the top where it says under the name Silvermane, it'll tell you what all of them have individual traits that are exclusive to them. So 10% weapon technique charge speed, shield charge speed, and the polarity attack charge speed. Polarity attacks are when you are attacking with one weapon, then you switch to the other one after the charge builds underneath it. Once you'll see that secondary weapon, once it is glowing, then when you switch to it, it'll do like a brief AoE as you switch, and then it'll do like 20% damage for like 30 seconds. That is a long time. So he's good. He's good. A lot of people are hung up on the other ones once they get past. Like, he's the one that you start out with, but he's very good. They all have something about them that's good. That's the suit of his brother eventually. This is all crit and bleed. That's the last one you'll get. You can't get this one until you get to until you clear the game. You can't get them because the dream stones, which I'm about to show you, you can't access them until the game is over, until you finish the game proper. So my advice is just to go through the game, get the hang of the mechanics, because by the time you get to level 50, you're going to wind up melting all the rest of those, because there's nothing else you can do with the mods or those weapons. You wait and you get a couple of 50s, and even if you got a legendary at 30 and you wind up getting like an uncommon at 50, the uncommon is going to be stronger. Just wait till you get to level 50 before you start ranking things up. Alright, so I used that void. I just ranked up that. This one summons 3 void sentinels, which do, there's a 10% chance that this Valor Plate will inflict curse. It's a lot higher than 10. So this is I'm going to switch to the hammer. Doesn't seem like those two will go together. This does a lot of extra damage to cursed enemies. It's not ranked up. It is legendary though. So all of those different damages will go up higher if I was to rank it up. But I want to experiment with this. Also, I have to mention that there are augments. Okay, you've got a certain amount you can go up to. So in that respect, it's like Destiny or Warframe, where you can only max, put X amount in here, and you have to pick and choose what augments you want to put in. All of mine have something to do, or as many as I can, have something to do with being cursed or doing void damage. So you'll see, let's back out of this. Alright, we'll find one of the dream stones, and that's challenging too. This here, the Ascended Tower of Trials, supposedly it doesn't, the one good thing is about it, you can't leave. You can't just I'm gonna leave. You have to keep doing it until you don't have any more lives left. You can only revive 3 times, and then when that's it, you'll return to base. But it's you get to keep everything up to that point. So that's good, but it's tough. You'll wind up opening. I'll show you. I'll show you. All right, so this one that we just picked. Is it more? Is it okay? Oof, I thought it was the other one. All right, so that's ultimately the boss we're going to wind up fighting. So there are different things that you can do that will lead up to, it's round 1 of 3. So when you do these other missions, it will add modifiers to it. The boss modifiers are closed right now. This will reveal to. It was kind of tough. We're going to choose the ailment boon. So what I want to do, hopefully this isn't one that has a time limit on it, where you get a bonus if you beat them quickly. Okay, no. All right, enemy soul shattered. So you get extra. See that right there, that void, it'll just. All right, so that's my helper that got summoned, that guy there. So that's 3 of them. Disappears. Yeah, so that mod there, 18% chance to summon a spirit warrior ally whenever you soul shatter an enemy. Now, Silvermane, and maybe because they're brothers, Silvermane and what's the other one? Hinterclaw, the two Valor plates that they have, their Archon Fury summons Valor plates, summons spirit warriors. So, oh, it's those 2. Ooh, yeah. All right, so to fight these 2 guys, these guys are the worst, especially, and when you do some of these group attacks. You have to have your Archon Fury before you go fight these guys. These guys are the worst. They're terrible. And some of these missions where you have to fight 4 or 5 bosses consecutively, if you don't kill the bosses off quick enough, then you'll fight 2 or 3 bosses at the same time. This Black Tide Enforcer and Brute are considered one boss, and they're the worst. They're the ones I hate. Absolutely. That one and the Sunfire Ravager, which is it's a cat of some kind, but it has this attack where you can't move, and it slowly like backs off into like this mist where you can't see it. It's horrible. So I could have done takedown on that. Alright, so I gotta drop this Archon Furious. These guys are, they're the worst. I'm telling you, they are the worst. Sometimes it's worth it just to break pots on the way, because you can only carry 3 of these. You see underneath the health bar, there's like the number 3 there. You can only carry 3 of the healing items at one time, but you can find more of them as you kill things. And you never really run out unless you're just, hitting the heal every single time. You don't heal right away unless you're really low on health and you're about to die. And even when you heal, these are different of the life gems with different abilities. Like, okay, so this one is, when you use it, you got 10 seconds after using it that these effects take hold. So increased crit chance, increased crit damage, but this also has a chance to inflict curse. So that's why I picked that one in particular. Alright, but you'll see why these guys, to get the objective out of the way. Most of the time I don't worry about it, but in this case I want to. Now what, these guys are the worst. They're the absolute worst, I'm telling you. So put your banner down. You gotta do it. Alright, so now it's not as much a problem. Dash out of the way of that. Teleport over here. another, like, only because that I built up her strength is the only reason that I was able to do that. I've never been able to beat them that quickly. I'll hurry and get here before the time runs out. The only reason I was able to do that is because I ranked her weapons up. All right, so you go in, so they don't just up. Common or rare, it's gonna go. Look at it anyway. I did take one of those moth charms and rank it all the way up. Alright, so you go back here, and then it'll give you, okay, to inflict poison, ignite, negative long sword resistance, 50 plus 50 weak point damage. So that means it's going to be stronger to weak points. Let's do ignite. We did hit ignite, didn't we? I did hit ignite. Ooh, magnified. Okay. He's brutal. He does like constant fire damage. He's gonna drop. He's only dropping rares though. He's tough. It's constant fire damage. Fire on the ground. His attacks do fire. The attacks by himself aren't a problem, but he leaves trails of fire, and it's like these big puddles of magma that you have to go through. You can't avoid it. By itself, he's not that tough. And then he has these minions that just run next to you and explode, so you gotta dodge out of that or you get caught in a loop of if you get hit once, you're gonna get hit 3 or 4 times in a row. So you have to, once you dodge the first one, just know that there's 3 or 4 more of these minions that are gonna come back to back and come next to you. You have to let them get relatively close. It's a pain. Okay, well, this one won't allow. The only problem with fighting one of the main bosses like this, one of the world bosses from these other areas, is you go right to him. There's no, you can't build up to it. But sometimes it's worth it. This one is not really worth it. This one, the Sunflare Ravager. This is the worst. Let me show you how terrible this is. This is the worst. And then if you do one of the gauntlets where all of these bosses are in the room, you defeat one, then the next one walks out from a corner in the room, and you defeat one, the next one, you'll see. Oh, it's already done. This one is timed. chest. Excuse me. I gotta see whether I can get my Archon Fury up, because it's the worst boss to fight. It is terrible. Oh man, I gotta be able to. It's the worst. It's the worst to fight. It just does this. Where's that? There it is. It does this. It'll do it. I can't even describe it, but it's a slow, methodical, and you'll feel in the controller and in your headset, you hear the doom, doom, doom. Top me off. Nope. Those void sentinels stay an awful long time. It stays quite. Yeah, but. Okay, Archon Fury. Now let's go fight him. One of my most hated bosses. Not the most hated, but when you have to fight those brutes, the brute, and then the ninja guy throwing the corruption stars. And that Sunflare Ravager, Sunflare. I keep saying Sunflare. When you have to fight all three of them at one time, it's the worst. Okay. So I gotta throw my banner down. It's tapping up on the directional pad. Like as soon as I get there, watch. There it is, and you can't move. Gotta do it quick. And that's the worst. Only with that, because those void sentinels, when you throw them out, they'll track where it is. Otherwise, you can't see it. You can't lock on. You can't. And I don't lock on anyway. I have like the soft lock on. But even if you try to do the regular lock on, you can't find them. You can't see it. It's terrible. It's a horrible boss. All that other stuff has to go. Just common crap. Alright, so... Okay. Critical hit chance with your northern technique. Do that one. Okay. So it's got negative longsword resistance. I like this one. This is the Phoenix Valor Plate. And its Archon Fury unleashes a shockwave that deals fire damage, and it's like 90% chance, it's damage over time. 100% extra damage to ignited enemies. All your attacks deal fire damage. She's good. Okay, so these are the weapons I'm using. This was an epic that I upgraded. It's you get northern technique charge when you hit your enemy with the southern technique, but that's not the point. You get to inflict ignite as the extra rampage damage, when you get a couple hits in a row, then you get increased damage. And then I have that void sight pole arm on it, only because when I use the northern technique here with this, as long as I have this even as a secondary, it'll still drop the void sentinel, and then those other stats carry over. Brother's Promise, a soul shattering enemy. It says 18% chance to summon a spirit warrior ally, but it's higher than that. It's high. It's a high percentage. See, I might have another fire one. Wait. They just added this where you could do the comparison, which is really useful. The dual blades are good, but they're not ranked up. I need to get... Let me see. I've got something else that's fire. That's water. I'll try something that later. These aren't bad. The Eclipse is not bad. But I don't... Oh, 27% damage to ignited enemies. Okay, good, I do have. Alright, let's add this 27% damage to ignited enemies. 53% damage to ignited enemies. That's nice. Alright. And I need more of those Orbs of Oblivion. So you just have to really farm this thing. It's somewhat annoying, but now this boss was a problem for me until I discovered, you know what, you can parry. If it's not an unblockable attack, you can parry it. This is a fun boss though. It's just annoying if you don't know how to fight it. Level 52. So I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna throw my shield at it as soon as it gets out. Okay, that's under these. It teleports away. Gotta watch out for those things. those little things will poison you. Ignited. These things here, you gotta bust those. So that stuff you got to dodge out of there, and he's gonna teleport to me. Gotta get out of there. Gotta let him teleport to you, and then you can carry it. Is that parrying? That fire burns them up. Okay, so let's see what we got. She's really nice though. All of them have their uses. That's gotta go. Boy, ooh, that's dual blades for. I'll hold on to that. Chance. Ooh, ignite. So that's. That would be good if it was higher. Rare. You can take one of these up to. I had a good one of these rings of noxious power, and it was. What was it? It was rare. And I actually ranked one of them up to legendary, and then wound up getting a legendary of it later, but the one I ranked up was better. Hope for curse. Nice. Nope. Great sword damage. I'll hold on to that. Now you can't rank these up, which is unfortunate. Whatever you get is what you get with those. Those dual blades look like they come in handy. Anyway, so that gives you an idea when the extra content comes. Like I'm going to make sure that each one of these has their own specific weapons, because you can kit each one out differently. Each one has different Archon Fury and different passes. This one's Soul Shatter buildup. You can blow up a bunch of them with this one. Greyhawk. It's you can do a lot of damage with this one. This is the water and the chill one. Okay, so that's that. I want to have each one where I could just grab one for a mission, especially if it's got certain you're doing like Dreamstones or something and it's got a certain perk to it. You can also do that on the Tower of Trials. I'll do one of those and show you what the Ascended one looks like now that they used to have doors. When you go through each level, you could go through a door, and they didn't have what on top of it, what it was. It just had these weird symbols, and everybody was, I think that means this, I think it means that. And now they have what it means, so it makes it a whole lot easier. You go through those booms, which adds different damages or defenses. You take somebody, you can add to those damages that you do. Like this one's what, Earth and Big Insect. Whoops. Yeah, this is it's shock and air damage. Alright, oh, so let me show you real quick. Like I said, this tap down swings it around, and I don't do anything about that. Just real quick, I'll just show you this. Alright, so I don't know what the invincibility frames are on it, but you've got, let me get where this thing's. Sitting there looking at the timer underneath. You get the infusion of luck due to the mod I have on it, but does a tremendous amount of damage. So you can block and instantly do your charged attack. But it charges almost instantly. Off the block, it charges almost instantly. So why was that popping up? Yeah, so it applies stasis whenever you hit a weak point. So you hit a weak point either by reflecting it back and by the shield, or sometimes dodging. You'll see a weak point. Stasis, they can't move, and it's for a brief moment, but that's all that matters is a brief moment. I'll switch. I don't want two pull-ons, but that one's got a good one because you do your southern technique, and it summons a lightning spit. It's really like a movable ball of lightning that just kind of that sits there and just when an enemy goes by, it just zaps the crap out of them. But what was giving me the benefit? Oh, okay. So luck. I don't remember what luck does. I have to go in there and look. But one of the augments I have on here, this one, gain the greater blessing of luck whenever you successfully evade a melee attack. So it's worth it to go in here and spec each individual one, especially if you're not going to have everything. You're not going to have everything at one time. But it's nice just picking one and just taking a day and say, okay, well, I'm going to pick this one and I'm going to use it and I'm going to try to kit this one out. And then you'll go out and find a weapon that, ooh, this will work for another character. And then you move on to another character. So that's why it's taken a minute. It's taken me a minute. But I like this game. I like the direction it's going, and I like a bunch of the fixes that they made. Right now, it's just no new content. So if you bought it at launch, it probably wasn't worth it to you. But buying it, seeing as the beginning of the year, we have this other free content coming. They made a whole lot of fixes, addressed a lot of bug fixes. If you're getting it the end of December, beginning of January, I think it's definitely worth it for you. The problem would be they don't have necessarily matchmaking. So I could play in your game, you could play in mine, but I'd have to invite you. Like, I can't just go in here and find somebody to do Tower of Trials or do a mission with. I can't just find somebody. I have to know somebody that has it specifically, and we have to set it up. And it shouldn't, in going into 2021, you should just be able to just play. Like, hey, I want to do a Tower of Trials. And when the guy, if you leave out, fine. You don't get anything. But if you die 3 times, it should be better with more than one person, because you could alternate banners. Right, as it is right now, I can put mine out for a little while, get the benefits of it. You get what's called overhealth, and then whatever the secondary benefit is, which for me, so while that's up, I get 32% weapon technique charge speed, shield charge speed, and Archon Fury charge speed. In the secondary, I get 18% breach damage, physical damage, which is bleed, and soul shatter buildup. So all of that's happening, but it doesn't stay up long, and it takes a while for it to charge. And I also didn't spec it to last longer too. But if somebody else has a banner, then we can alternate. And if you got 3 people, it's even better. Everybody gets the benefit of that banner. So if they can add that, I think it'll really add to the longevity of the game. As it is, I'm going to play it. I'm definitely anxious at the beginning of the year to see what the free content is, and then I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'll wind up paying for the expansion, especially if it's adding to worlds and adding to the lore. Um, I think it would be worth it for you, but you have to determine whether you like to craft and put together individual builds, or if you're one of those people that just go into like Warframe, like robots with guns. Because some people just go into certain games just saying, okay, well, this is what it is, and this is more than just weapons. You pick different weapons for different characters. You mod it for different characters. I mean, it's very much for, I think the developers were saying before it released that it was like they wanted it to be a tinkerer's dream, somebody who likes to deal with different elements and put things together specifically for specific characters. This is, if that's what you like, then you'll like this. If you like doing dungeon quest in Roblox, where you're just doing the same, much less limited or much more limited content than this here, doing the same thing over and over again, trying to get better gear, then this is definitely for you. It looks better. It's got a really robust combat system, and you need to actually learn it, which it doesn't do a great job of letting you know how other things work, but as far as you going in here to the skills, there's nothing open here. And going through the tutorial level, it doesn't tell you that this needs to be the first thing you put in here. Pressing X while you evade performs an evasive slide. This is the first thing. Whatever else you do, and whatever else you wind up doing, that's great. But that needs to be the first thing that you do, because everybody can dash, and like I showed you, it's got certain windows of invincibility. It's got, you know, some iframes to it, but there's some things that you need a longer, especially like when that Solaris boss, I'll do that maybe tomorrow, where it starts doing the fire AoE from the sky. You got to be able to get out of the way. But normally, you know, this is good for just regular combat. Sometimes you need to do the slide, though. Anyway, I'm rambling. Listen, you got any comments or anything that you want to see specifically? Any of these different, you want to see some of the other elemental combinations and whatnot, let me know. Thanks for checking it out. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.